One headline kept popping up in my feed this week: humanoid robots performing surgery. Depending on which article you read, you'd think we're about to replace surgeons with robots. So I spent some time digging into what really happened. And honestly, what I found was far more interesting than the headlines themselves. Here's what actually happened. A team of researchers at UC San Diego used 2 humanoid robots to perform gallbladder removal procedures on live pigs. It was a preclinical study, basically an early step before anything moves toward human trials. One detail really caught my attention. The robots used standard surgical instruments inside a normal operating room. That alone is a remarkable engineering achievement. But the most important detail is this: the robots weren't making decisions. Every movement came directly from experienced surgeons controlling them remotely. In other words, the robots weren't acting like doctors. They were acting like incredibly sophisticated remote-controlled hands. This is where I started thinking about it differently. We already have robotic surgical systems in hospitals, right? So why go through all the trouble of building a humanoid robot instead? At first, it didn't make complete sense to me. But then I realized the answer has less to do with surgery itself and more to do with how hospitals are actually built. Most hospitals were designed with people in mind. The rooms, the tools, the layout, everything assumes there's a person standing there doing the work. The surgical robots we already use are very good, but they're also very specialized. They're built for specific procedures and often require hospitals to change how things are set up. A humanoid robot works the other way around. Instead of forcing the hospital to adapt to the robot, the idea is to build a robot that can work inside the hospital we already have. Something that can use regular tools, move through normal spaces, and fit into workflows that already exist. We're obviously not there yet, but that's a completely different way of thinking about how robots could eventually fit into medicine. And I think that's a big reason this research is getting so much attention. Now, before we get too carried away, no, surgeons aren't about to be replaced. Not even close. These procedures were performed on animals as part of a carefully controlled preclinical study. The surgeons remained in control from beginning to end. The research team also had to stop and recalibrate the robots during the procedures, which shows there's still plenty of engineering work ahead. So while this is an important milestone, it's still one step along a much longer road. The more I look into this, the less I found myself thinking about the robots. Instead, I kept thinking about the surgeons. Imagine a specialist operating from another city, another country, or helping a patient in a place that doesn't have access to that level of expertise. The robot becomes the physical presence. The surgeon remains the expertise behind it. That opens up possibilities that simply weren't practical before. We're still a long way from seeing that become common, but this milestone makes that future feel just a little more believable. Everyone's attention is on the robot. Mine keeps going back to the surgeon, because the more I look into this, the more I realize this isn't really about replacing expertise. It's about extending it. At least for now, every important decision is still being made by a human. The robot is simply becoming a more capable set of hands. And honestly, I think that's a much more interesting future than the one most headlines are selling. One thing I've learned is that technology headlines are rarely the whole picture. And sometimes what's really happening is far more interesting. If you enjoy looking beyond the headlines, consider subscribing. I drop new videos regularly. This is Midnight Deep Tech. I'll catch you in the next one.